You're listening to Cinema Rex. It's an Iranian film podcast, episode 48. Mohsen Makhmalbaf's The Cyclist, or Bicycle Run, or Bicycle Run. I don't understand why the title says Bicycle Ran. Even on the posters in Farsi, it says that.
Wait, what?
Why don't you say, what's The Cyclist in Farsi?
Bicycleron?
Yeah, Bicycle Run, but
the cyclist. Bicycleron, I guess.
I asked like 4 Persian moms, and all of them said that's not a word or a thing.
I don't think it's a word, but I think it's like, I bet you in like 1987, it was probably like maybe a word. I don't know. I don't know what the actual word is for cyclist in Farsi, to be honest. Also, maybe it's the Afghan word or the Dari word.
I think you do, to be honest. I think
What?
you do.
What?
You do.
I do what? Oh,
Durud Bashama Dustan Aziz.
Damn it!
This is the Cinerex podcast where we talk all things Iranian films, cinema, art, circuses, bicycles, marathons, gambling.
Afghan refugees.
I'm Kaveh Mohebi.
And I'm Kaveh Mohebi.
Great. This will be good. 2 Kavehs for the price of 1. For the price of none. Really, because we don't charge you for this. This is free.
This is true. Buy one
Great
Kaveh,
tips.
get one Kaveh free.
Yeah, this is
And
grapefruit.
the first one is also free.
Podcast.
Yeah.
Hold on, one more thing before you say something.
Yeah. Oh, I'm Farhan Moradi.
Yeah, that's your actual name.
Yeah, that's my real name.
And today we're talking about. So hold on, there was something I was gonna say, and I completely forgot, and I don't remember now. Okay, whatever. You go take it away.
Was it what you had for lunch?
No.
What did you have for lunch?
Oh, what did I have for lunch today? I was at. I had a poke bowl at Poquito at Chef's Hall.
Delicious.
Shout out Chef's Hall.
No shout outs unless they sponsor the podcast.
They pay me.
They do?
They pay me in poke bowl.
Didn't you pay money for it? Money can be exchanged for goods and services.
Nah. They just do it for the podcast. For the love of the pod, my friend.
I see. Also can confirm it's not a word in Farsi, Dari, or Pashto. So, I don't know.
Great. Now, this is one of those podcasts that I feel like we should have probably had an Afghan guest. I realized afterwards.
Yeah.
Like we had with Baran.
Yeah.
Who did we have? Remind the viewers, listeners.
Aisha Jamal. Professor Aisha
Yeah.
Jamal. Dr. Aisha.
You're
Professor Dr.
Doctor,
Aisha Jamal.
professor, scientist,
Astronaut.
Aisha Jamal, who was your astronaut in space camp.
Yeah.
Have we had any other Afghans?
No, but
on the show?
we've been talking about having Alex on to talk about a different Makhmalbaf film. I forgot that this one was about an Afghan main character.
Iskandar Khan?
No. Alex Farah.
Oh, Farah. Yeah, right, okay.
Who directed Baran again?
The Majidi, I believe.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
I'm Kaveh Mohebi.
You already did that.
I wanted to see if I'd get you.
Nope.
Tried to get you.
Can't get me unless you do.
All right, well, Durud Bashama Dustan Aziz. This is this. All right, let's dive into the plot summary, because we did, I guess we should say that again off the top. We did Mohsen Makhmalbaf's The Cyclist, which is Bicycle Run.
A made-up word.
I feel like Makhmalbaf is one of the names, whenever I say it, and I think I do a pretty good job of saying it, but I hear the mispronunciation of like white people saying that name a lot. Makhmalbaf or something,
Oh,
you know,
God.
Makhmalbaf. You know, like when people
Makhmalbaf
talk about
sounds like it's like
detective.
an item.
You're off the case, Makhmalbaf.
I'm dying. I was gonna say it sounds like an item on the McDonald's value menu.
Oh no, it's definitely detective and
I'll
grizzle.
get 6 nuggets and a McMalbaf, please.
No, but you know, like without like naming any specific.
Cameron
filmmakers,
Bailey's
whenever
not gonna listen to this podcast, Kaveh. You can call him out if you want.
Yeah. I wasn't even thinking of him. Yeah. No, I was because in my head I was rooting through like filmmakers. Yeah, it's just like whenever you hear non-Iranians say, I can always hear the Makhmalbaf,
McMalbaf.
Panahi, Kiarostami. Anyways, whatever.
Kiarostami.
Anyways, I'm Kaveh Mohebi, and
I'm McMalbaf.
plot summary for The Cyclist. Ateh, nicknamed Nasim, is an impoverished Afghan immigrant whose wife is dying from a serious illness.
We don't know what the illness is, right? Like undisclosed illness?
Undisclosed illness. Unable to find any other job to pay for her medical bills, he agrees to a circus act in which he will ride a bicycle in a small circle for 7 consecutive days. As he begins, his performance becomes the focus of the town's gossip and entertainment as bookies start placing bets and huskers start using his heroic venture as a way to sell their ideologies. He has to deal with a ride getting in his way and sabotage as bettors predict whether he will make it the full week. But simply staying awake on the bicycle becomes the most monumental task. Soon, his act catches the eye of the government, who fears he may be a spy using this event to cause civil disobedience, as they try to stand in his way. His young son, Jomme, is torn between caring for his hospitalized mother and helping his father as he brings him food and drink. And Nassim is even forced to prop his eyes open with toothpicks to stay awake on the ride that may determine life and death for his wife. It has no Rotten Tomato score, and it has a 76% audience score. So I ask you, Faranjan, what did you think of The Cyclist?
I wasn't a huge fan. I thought I would be. Yeah, exactly. And I was like, actually, low-key kind of disappointed. And it kind of comes down to two main things for me. One, the way that the premise is set up is like kind of unbelievable for a lot of reasons. And then two, the editing I thought was like not good, like distractingly so. But as far as the directing goes, I thought the directing was really good. Like I thought the shot choices were great, the composition was great, the acting was really good. It just sucks that there was like a little bit of lapse in logic in the script and some of the editing wasn't great. But what did you think?
Yeah, that's interesting. This film is bafflingly unpolished, in my opinion.
Yes.
To the point where it's distracting. The Cyclist wastes no time in setting up its central crisis and skips character introductions entirely.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because whether it's by design or deliberate or there's scenes missing or something, this film, I think the premise, I disagree with you. I think like it's First of all, one interesting thing I was going to say for behind the scenes trivia, this is apparently based on something he witnessed as a child, that a local sort of circus performance in his small town, the way that we see it in this film, was like really promoting this one guy who was apparently cycling for at least 3-4 days. And like he witnessed this as a kid. They're like, come see the amazing cyclist. And he like had this burned in his mind.
I don't believe it.
I mean, okay.
I believe that he saw it. I believe that he says he saw it. I'm saying I don't believe that it actually happened. I think that
probably
his
not.
Like 5-year-old brain like exaggerated.
Or it's just Huskers doing what Huskers do. Like
Huskers?
Huskers, like
hustling buskers?
No, like hustling buskers. Yeah, Huskers.
Is that a real term?
Yeah, it is now. Google it, everybody.
Well, I guess like that the scene where he like they do the switcheroo like that. I guess someone could be doing that.
Yeah, or people just get bored and I don't know. But like the way they cut between like flashbacks and present day, it's like very dreamlike, especially off the top. It's just very distracted in its own like setup of the story world.
Yeah.
The desperate husband is like almost entirely silent throughout the entire film. And we're just kind of thrown into this, like we get his wife is sick, but he's trying to raise money.
Yeah.
It's interesting how little he speaks. And I don't know if it's typical of Iranian cinema. I'm trying to think of like all the times this happens. I wasn't surprised by it. I don't know, maybe it's a Makhmalbaf thing. But like it just kind of throws you into the story. And the editing, in my opinion, is like similar to what you say, very, very slapdash together. It seems like It seems like the film was in a rush to get made or finished or something.
The opening sequence is non-linear, but it's non-linear like almost randomly. So it feels like you're watching
a fever dream.
The first 10 minutes of the movie while someone's sitting on the remote.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point. The only thing I'll disagree with you, and I'll probably sway your opinion to some degree with like my brilliant knowledge, but I think the premise and what the film is about is so impactful and meaningful, and I'll get into it especially in deeper analysis, but I think the film is so interestingly deep that it will make up for the things I don't like about how unpolished it is, because I think it's like really slapdash together. Like it's
when I'm talking about the part of the premise that I don't believe is like it being 7 days, I think is like excessive. That's what I'm like, why can't it just be like 2 days? Because the current world record for like longest uninterrupted bike ride is like 11 hours. So you even like want like 24 hours or 2 days is like a lot. And then the second thing is the environment in which they do it doesn't make sense. Because it's this like small little circle and like people are like running deliveries and doing things. And it like, if they actually did this, they would like block off the area. Do you know what I mean? Or they'd like take him to a track.
Yeah, but I chalked all of that up to like the fairy tale nature of it. This almost feels like the legend.
Maybe.
Like if you heard a legend of like, there was a man from this town who rode a bike for 7 days.
Maybe.
There's a book by the Italian writer Italo Calvino called Buried in the Trees. Mm-hmm. And it's about a young boy who like from an aristocrat family who one day gets so frustrated with his parents that he decides, like, I think it's just like something small, like they tell him like has to go to bed early or something. But he gets so frustrated that he decides to like go climb out his window and live in a tree. And then the rest of the film is about this man who dedicates his life to this. Promise me, he never leaves the trees.
Interesting.
He like travels the world from tree to tree and like falls in love and gets married and stuff, but he never leaves the trees because of this fight yet. And that film is never, I mean, that book is never meant to be like this happened. It's supposed to be like the fairy tale nature of the fable of the one guy who did this. So like if you take the context of this film and be like, don't take it for like, I don't believe this would happen. This is just supposed to be more like the most like the more romantic fairy tale version of a village town.
So this to you feels kind of like fairy tale-y.
Yeah, it'd be like almost like you'd hear this was the story that people would pass on generations later. Did you hear about Nassim, the guy who conquered all odds? And I mean, especially because when you find out what happens towards the end, which we'll get to.
Yeah, if it was framed like this, like if. And this might have also helped the beginning of the movie, like how it just kind of chucks you in.
Yeah.
If there was like literally 30 seconds added to the top of the film where someone's sitting someone down to tell them the story of Nassim, the cyclist or whatever, then I could forgive it. But the way it's presented currently feels like it's like supposed to be real. And so some of the premise I was like, I don't buy it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he's like literally kind of doing that. He's doing this in the center of the bazaar. Like this is like a crowded place. I don't think any of it's meant to be. It's supposed to be a little bit dreamlike and romanticized version of like the local hero, the legend who like defied all odds. Is the feeling I got from it. For the record, too, it's worth mentioning. This film's also entirely watchable on YouTube.
Yeah.
If you type in The Cyclist 1987, I believe, you'll probably find it. And it's like in decent, it's not even the best quality, but it's definitely better than some movies you'll find on YouTube.
I'm pretty sure that upload on YouTube is also like has the blessing of Makhmalbaf, because when I had reached out for screeners, they literally sent me that YouTube link. Yeah,
and also it's the official, apparently if you buy the DVD, that's the copy you're getting. Like the DVD is literally just a VHS, like, what do you call them? Like it's just like a print on a DVD.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's no official, like you can't buy this movie like in any higher quality.
It'd be funny if like the DVD was literally like you have to put it in a computer and the only thing that happens is it's a link to the YouTube video.
Yeah. And another link to this podcast.
Yeah.
So like if you want to read the back of the DVD, listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
What I think is really interesting is how what this guy does, everyone ends up becoming, they like end up finding their own way into profiting from this guy.
Yeah.
So like you have a promoter who's like using this guy's betting. He's like using he's taking bets and he's making bribes and he's making deals off this guy's hard backbreaking physical labor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You have this nationalistic man, the Huskers, as I say, who are like they're barking like things of inspiration and community pride. And the audience is supposed to accept them as like their collective hero, right? And he's kind of using this like everyone's kind of putting like, oh, this is what like it's a savior from the gods, or like a person like everyone's kind of like putting their own ideologies into him, and like rabbling up the community. Then you have like the promoter or the bettors and gamblers I mentioned. You have the government who's like interfering because they start worrying that he might be a spy for some reason, and they're like, well, this is bad for our country. We have to stop him at all odds, and they're like sending tanks and sending people. Then you have the doctors who for some reason are sent in to like keep them awake, and the nurses feeling like this is unethical or whatever. Like
they're hired by the guy who's like the bookie, promoter. Right? Yeah.
But it's like everyone has an angle from which they're trying to profit from this one man's suffering.
Yeah.
And this one man's physical labor, which going back to the fact that he is an Afghan immigrant, refugee.
He's a refugee.
This starts digging into a lot of what I think Makhmalbaf is getting at in terms of like people profiting off Afghan labor and like second-class citizens, essentially.
I think so too.
But I did think that the film shifts wildly tonally from scene to scene. Interestingly so, the music, which I give a shout out to Majid Intizami,
Did you like the music?
At times it felt really different. There's a moment, and I can't really quite remember the exact moment, but it kind of almost started like sounding a little synth poppy, like 80s. Like, do you know what I mean? Did you catch that part? Like the music kind of like shifted wildly from scene to scene, and I kind of liked it. It didn't seem consistent at all, but it was interesting.
The first piece of music that we hear sounds extremely Orientalist. Like it's like fake Indian music that you would hear in like a European movie. It's like doom, it's like that, and I'm like, what is this music? And I'm like, oh, it's because they're supposed to be Afghan, and this is what this like composer thinks is like Afghan music.
Oh, okay. I'll give you an example of something that I think is beautiful summary of my feelings towards this film.
Hit me.
There's a great scene I loved so much. It's really, really great scene.
Okay.
But just I want to get into all the detail where he at one point passes out from exhaustion while the referee who's watching this happen, the referee who's watching this and like almost like making sure this is staying on track.
Yeah.
He falls asleep. And the cyclist passes out from exhaustion and falls off his bike.
Yeah.
Now, knowing that if he falls off the bike, the bet is over and the game is over, a bunch of people have bet on his side. I couldn't tell if one of them was friends or not. Like they help switch him. Yeah. And they help let him get rest for the night. And he covers up his face with like a scarf and kind of covers up his head. And the referee wakes back up and doesn't realize that the man has switched. And now the guy's, I really like the scene a lot. Then the next morning, Nassim is back on the bike again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was like, that's a really interesting way they switched him around. I'm like, how are they going to switch him back? I can't wait to see the clever way they find in which they're going to switch this guy back on the bike. The next morning, Nassim's just back on the bike again. And this might sound like a nitpick. This might be like a classic foreign nitpick, but I was like,
I don't think that's a nitpick. I think that's legit.
No, because I was like, that's genuinely like an important story. Like, how did you get back on the bike? I think the story deserves that answer, but you skipped over it.
It's a piece of conflict that was removed from a film that needs more conflict.
Yeah,
and it would have been a very natural progression of what had already been established.
And in that moment, I'm like, did they delete? Like, is there a scene I'm missing from this cut of the film? Because it seems like you're robbing your audience of like a dramatic moment that should be there.
Yeah.
So like that's an perfect example of like the jankiness and the unpolished nature of like throughout the entire scene. There's like scenes missing. There's constantly this feeling that you missed something.
Yeah.
They like when the son is screaming out to his dad and he's like, Ate, and he's like, Joman, and he's like calling out to him. And then these guys like stop him from screaming because they don't want him to like disrupt him. They're holding him and covering his mouth to stop screaming. Then in the next scene, the kid just runs out of the store and runs up to his dad. And I'm like,
and then just like jumps onto the bike.
Did he just let him go? Did he get away? Did he stomp on his feet?
Yeah.
Like we just saw a scene where it was a close up of him in the store while they're holding him back.
Yeah.
Did they cut a scene out where he's getting away from him? What's going on?
And it happens a few times where we see him sitting on the handlebar of the bike and like we don't see how he like got past the crowd to do it.
Yeah.
I think the movie like has a number of plot holes specifically just to like build a piece of conflict in the story. It almost feels like while he was writing the script, he was coming up with points of conflict, or even while they were shooting it.
Yeah. And
then they never went back to solve the plot holes that those additions made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. The only other like things I have for our reaction was there's a palm reader that I quite liked a lot who's talking a few times about like men in society and like married women. There's a weird moment when it's raining and they show how like these people in this village cover their heads from rain and they just cover their heads in plastic bags.
Yeah.
Which seems unsafe, but like everyone's doing it. I just thought that was bizarre. And I think there's these moments where like the government wants him to fall off his bike because they're like, he's causing civil disobedience and causing discord. So they like do things like throw nails on the ground to pop his tire. And that's another great moment. I'm like, oh my God, his tires popped. Like, how are they going to like switch him? And then they bring him a new bike and switch him. Like, these moments are great.
Yeah. But also like when it's the government that's like trying to thwart it, why doesn't the government just go in and be like, we're shutting this down. This is our street. You can't do this.
Yeah.
Like it's another plot hole. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I couldn't tell. Maybe those nails were being thrown by the guys betting against them.
Those ones, I think, the nails were the bookie, but there were other parts where the government was like, we know you're a spy, blah, 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 all this stuff.
Yeah. I should say this for the YouTube people who want to watch this. It's like 78 minutes long. It's like a pretty generously short feature film.
Yeah.
So it's not like a huge time commitment if you're even remotely interested.
I actually feel like it probably could have been a short film. A tighter short film with less plot holes.
I think the film would be better if it was 15 minutes longer.
Interesting.
And these things that I'm saying, these scenes that feel like they're cut out. Give us a setup.
Yeah, to me, it's either like add 15 minutes and flesh things out a little bit more, especially like where there's moments of plot holes, or just cut it down to like 25 minutes. Like it's either one or the other.
It's like, give us a setup to this family. Like,
yeah,
let me meet these characters in their status quo before you throw them into like death's door and like crisis and stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like this film could actually be longer.
I was wondering what you felt about, there's like a scene where him and his son are observing a group of refugees getting on a packed bus. And then it keeps intercutting between like a guy trying to like line himself up under the bus tire.
Yeah.
And that's intercut with like a bunch of horses running around.
Yeah.
And I don't really understand the intercutting of the horses.
No, neither do I.
But then later, when it shows
Nassim,
it shows Nassim doing the same thing, and then they pull him out from under the bus. His son is like, "Hey, like don't like that guy's trying to like hurt himself."
Yeah.
Then they like chase after them and they run away. When he does it the second time, he also runs away with a bag. Was the second time like a scam that they ran to try to steal money from someone, or was he actually trying to like hurt himself?
Yeah, Nassim was trying to commit suicide because he was just like hopeless. He felt like he couldn't go on like this or whatever. Right. And the son stops. The guy's like, "Hey, my dad's there. Don't drive over him." And then
do you think we needed to see the sequence where he like comes up with that idea by watching somebody else do it?
I guess not. Again, bafflingly unpolished.
Yeah.
The film has a powerful ending in which, spoiler alert for anyone, you should watch this film if you're even remotely interested in Makhmalbaf and his films.
40-year-old movie, yeah.
He makes it the 7 days. And not only does he succeed the 7 days, but you're like, "Hey, you've done it. Congratulations." He's going to win the money. He's going to be able to pay for his wife's thing. But he doesn't stop biking. And he keeps cycling around, and it's like, "You can stop now, Nassim. Nassim, you've won. Congratulations, you've won. Like, tell us how you feel. Get off the bike." And he is like now in this robotics trance where he's still circling and circling and circling. And his son runs up to him and he's like, "Dad, we've done it. Come on, congratulations. I'm so happy. Dad, stop biking. Stop cycling. Stop cycling." And this man does not stop cycling. Yeah. And he keeps going round and round. And the film smash cuts to credits on a freeze frame.
Yeah.
With him cycling.
The Don't Stop Believing.
This is the moment. Yeah. Don't you forget about me. I know it's a different song, but that's like the Breakfast Club ending.
Yeah.
Smash cut. So like, I think this moment is so powerful that it was like the last kind of thing. I'm like, okay, you know what? I really like some of the stuff that's going on here. Like thematically, deeper analysis.
Before it smash cuts to black, first it cuts to like a BTS shot.
Oh yes. Of
the camera shoot,
breaks
like
the fourth
filming
wall.
him.
It breaks the fourth wall.
It fully breaks the fourth wall, and you're seeing the camera filming him, and then it cuts back to a shot of him, and then it cuts to a shot of his sick wife,
and then back on him though, because it ends on him.
Yeah, and then the movie ends.
The last thing I'll say though is this movie is in another thing that I think is actually quite impressive. What Makhmalbaf does, the film feels prescient. It feels of today, especially in America.
Yeah. Well, even in Iran right now.
For sure. I'm talking about the fact that, like, as more and more Americans find it difficult to navigate the healthcare system. Like, this idea of, like, you have to do ridiculous tricks, or, like, you have to sell yourself, or go to OnlyFans, or, like, ride a bike like a trained monkey, like the fact that this guy doesn't have health coverage and he's forced to do this to save his wife, it feels like Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Like desperate people in desperate times to do something to pay the medical bills.
Yeah.
You know, inflated healthcare costs. It's just an issue that like still relevant, especially in the U.S., but probably all over the world in lots of places. I mean, not probably, of course it is. And that is one of the greatest tricks that a filmmaker can have. The lasting meaning behind a film. It's why The Great Dictator is still revered today as one of the greatest works of its decade, but also of Charlie Chaplin's filmography.
Right. I just realized something. I was looking up whether or not Iran had universal healthcare. It does, but because they're refugees, they don't have access to it.
They also have universal death care.
This is true. They do also have universal death care. But it like just goes to show that like even in a country like Iran where has universal healthcare and the United States doesn't. Like
yeah. Behind the scenes and trivia, I don't have too many things here, but there were some things I wanted to point out that were really interesting. Makhmalbaf called this era of his filmmaking, the second period of filmmaking, he called it his he called this his second period, his second wave of filmmaking. And he called it like the end of his Islamic ideology.
Interesting.
So like he had a moment, like he kind of created a huge partition behind like the films he did before this were like more Islamic.
Yeah.
And the films he did around this era, it was like the partition was starting to be put to free up his creative artistic expression, his psyche. The films were The Peddler, The Cyclist, and The Marriage of the Blessed, all within like a couple years of each other.
So are these considered like a transitionary period?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like he had sort of divorced himself from making Islamic moral films, right?
Right. I got you.
And he was more concerned. He called this his socially concerned era, or he also referred to it as his anti-capitalist era.
Okay.
So like all three of these films deal with social issues.
Okay.
And as he states it, this is a direct quote. He goes, "A few years had passed since the revolution, and by then I'd come to believe that the new government was not going to do anything worthwhile either. I'd asked myself, what comes after all of these slogans? The left had been beaten down, and I'd been worried that they might take control, but then I realized that capitalism was beginning to pull the strings that controlled the revolution. The films are a critique of capitalism and its effects on our society." That's a direct quote from him about these eras of film, which I think is interesting to even like in his way of like saying I'm making less Islamic films, he's still kind of being like, it's not the mullahs, it's capitalism.
Yeah.
Which is like, yeah, you're kind of also right, but you're still, I think in this period of time, still kind of leaving a lot of like, you're missing like the forest from the trees in terms of your targeted attack of morality.
I agree.
He had said the directors of Farabi, which is the film institute in Iran at the time, were worried about his film Marriage of the Blessed and The Peddler because the two films aroused hostility inside Iran from the right wing. So they didn't officially submit those films to international film festivals, fearing that if they won prizes, it might seal the fate of the institute. But they gave permission only to The Cyclist. As he says, even when I proposed the project to them, they told me to shoot the film in Pakistan. I ended up filming 90% of it in Iran and about 10% of it in Pakistan. So like this Farabi, which is at the Film Institute in the 80s, late 80s, was just like, no, like this was the only film they'd kind of given their blessings to like submit to film festivals.
According to IMV Box, the way that they've spelt it here, it's Farabi.
Farabi. Okay.
Yeah.
Farabi.
Yeah. Hang on to your angry DMs, folks.
Like many of the films, The Cyclist was yet another adaptation of a stage play that he had written by the same name. So a lot of his scripts, a lot of the things he had adapted early in his career, he had initially written for the stage, and some of them he actually produced on stage. I wasn't clear on whether or not he had actually made this for stage, like actually ended up producing it, but I can almost see that too, like this, like sort of like
then it makes more sense, like why it's like in the town square, small
town
area.
square, and it's like a small circle, and so not a racetrack and stuff.
Yeah, although that makes me question a little more, like, then why were some of these like plot holes not better ironed out? Then again, those could have been things that like while he was making the movie, while he was shooting it, they were like changing things on the fly and didn't realize the like repercussions. I don't know. I'm just trying to like, I'm legit trying to give him like benefit of the doubt here.
Right. And as I mentioned, I mentioned this earlier, but apparently this film is a retelling of something he had witnessed early in childhood when he had heard that a cyclist was competing in a strength trial to see if he can pedal for 5 straight days in order to raise money.
Do you think they gave him moments to sleep, or do you think he was swapping out? Because it's humanly impossible to do it.
I feel like people would go to bed at the end of the night and he would just stop cycling, and then he'd get up in the morning and start biking again before people woke up.
Yeah, maybe.
And I think like people were just too like focused on.
Yeah, maybe.
I gotta get like shovel the hay and shovel horse shit and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Sit here all day. This is the film that Hossein Sabzian mentions in Close Up while talking to Abbas Kiarostami. He says, "Tell Makhmalbaf the cyclist is a part of me." What's really funny about this, and we are going to do our Close Up episode soon, but the really funny thing, a lot of the comments in especially Letterboxd for this film say, "I'm here. I watched this film because Sabzian sent me here."
Yeah, that's funny. Because
Sabzian is a lover of Makhmalbaf and loves this film so dearly. So like this guy
in the movie
mentioned that. Yeah. So by the end of the early 80s and 90s, there's a little bit of like political stuff backdropping for the uninitiated.
Tell me.
But by the end of the 80s and early 90s, 90% of 3 million refugees in Iran were Afghan. They were granted refugee status right away and granted what was called blue permits, confirming that as Mohajir, or religious migrants. not political refugees, but religious migrants. This status allowed them theoretically to stay, work, and benefit indefinitely from social services in Iran, much like the permanent residents, but they weren't treated equally, partly because of their poverty and illiteracy, but also partly because what was meant to be a temporary stay became an extended or permanent sojourn, and partly because Iran was forced to shoulder this burden of taking care of the displaced population alone.
Right.
So Afghans in Iran, especially during this time in the 80s, became second-class citizens, treated poorly, given horrendous work, physical work, labor, underpaid. This began a major influence in filmmaking. In a series of films that were later called by film critics the Afghan film cycle, like a veritable Afghani cycle of movies resulted dealing with Afghan characters and stories. The Cyclist was one of the earliest films dealing with this stemming presence of poor Afghan refugees living in the margins of Iran. But other films include what film that we did?
Farhan.
Yes, Spy.
Majidi?
Yep. And Gobadi's A Time for Drunken Horses, which we haven't done, but we mentioned it in our Baran episode.
Is Gabe about an Afghan refugee as well?
I haven't seen it. I don't know.
And
send your angry DMs to Farn.
Yeah.
Of
also,
course it is.
Kandahar, I believe, is also about... I don't think that one's about refugees, but it's about Afghans. I would imagine.
Gives it away. Yeah.
I don't know. Just wild guess.
That's the end of Behind the Scenes and Trivia today.
I think it's worth people looking into. There's currently a refugee crisis going on in Iran. The Iranian government has been once again targeting and cracking down on Afghan refugees, especially at a time when a lot of them are coming to Iran fleeing the Taliban and trying to find a place for their children, especially the women in their family, to find a little bit more freedom, which is like kind of ironic that like people are coming to Iran so that the women in their family can have a little bit of freedom. Mm-hmm. But it's education is what it is. And for those who don't know, Iran has one of the highest population of educated women in the world. In fact, I think about 75% of engineers or graduating engineers of the last like couple decades in Iran are women. So highly educated, but obviously also persecuted by the Iranian government. So that's why you see a lot of Afghans coming to Iran, and government is really racist and going after them right now.
Well said, Farhan June. Critical reactions. As we mentioned, 74% audience rating on Rotten Tomato score, which is pretty good. It's a good score. That's a popcorn, not a splat. This was the winner of Best Film in 1991 at the Hawaii International Film Festival. And it was the winner of Best Director and Best Screenplay and Best Music at the 1989 Fajr Film Festival, which comes up a lot in this podcast.
Yeah, that's the government festival.
I wanted to read one paragraph from a review I really liked by a critic named Dan Schneider.
Schneidi!
I couldn't figure out what the source was. This was just on one of the Rotten Tomatoes score. In a sense, this film resembles Todd Browning's classic film Freaks, except that the camera is not looking at the center of the attraction, but out on the crowd. The fact that they are even scarier than the real freaks of this film, while unsurprising, shows how well an artist can critique something implicitly and not get his work censored in an authoritarian society. For the people who gawk at Nassim, referred to as Breeze by his shady promoter, are really the mullahs who want to know every detail of a person's life in an Islamist society. Furthermore, despite the claims of Islam being a leveling force in the lives of its adherents, this film shows just how nationalistic the Iranians are and how much bias they hold towards outsiders. The acting is nothing noteworthy because all involved were likely amateurs, and again, the camera work by cinematographer Ali Reza Zarin Dost is nothing special. Even the occasional quick cuts look more like the works of error than planning.
That's crazy. The cinematography I thought was actually really good.
But he's right about the quick cuts that look like
but like it's poorly edited 100%. But
I think the cinematography is okay.
Man, some of the shots were like insane. But sorry, continue.
But in just this first film of Makhmalbaf that I've seen, one can discern that he's likely to be a more daring filmmaker than his main filmic rival in Iran, Abbas Kiarostami, which I actually might agree with.
Yeah, I think he swung for the fences quite a bit more.
Well, and is also like less afraid to say something. meaningful,
Yeah,
like
I think-
political.
Yeah. I think Makhmalbaf came at this more with the mind of a filmmaker, whereas Kiarostami came at his films more with the mind of a poet.
Yeah.
And Kiarostami like talked about it all the time, where he didn't consider film to be his primary vocation.
Yeah.
He considered himself a poet first, and then a photographer, and then a filmmaker.
Then a juggler, then an acrobat.
Yeah. And then a cyclist.
That's it.
Fun fact, this movie is actually based on the life of Abbas Kiarostami.
Yeah. Famous cyclist.
Yeah.
Deeper analysis. Take it away, FJ.
FJ. Oh, Farhan June. I mean, the main thing I wrote is that the movie is all about how Afghans are exploited in Iran. Essentially, the middle class is dependent on him, and then the rich, half of them need him to succeed, and half of them need him to fail.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I think it's very much a commentary on that, and the ending where he is stuck in a loop, biking and biking and biking, I think is also a reference to the lives of a lot of Afghan refugees who have to like work and work and work just to make ends meet, and they can never stop.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think, Kabe?
The myth of Sisyphus. The man who pushes up the boulder up the hill only to have it come back down again.
Yeah.
The absurdist hero that your best friend Camus talks about in his essays.
Yeah.
The most potent symbol of this film is a wheel. It's even in the posters. The wheel which keeps spinning, a recurring motif that appears throughout the film, the metaphor for the ritual of human existence that's represented by the cycle of life and death.
Yeah.
The unending circle of human existence, exploitation, the allegory for the Afghan refugee experience, the vicious cycle that keeps perpetuating itself over and over and over again. When Nassim watches a man attempt suicide and he gets the idea from it, what is that man putting his head under?
A wheel.
A wheel. When you cut to a man in a motorcycle who's doing stunts, what is he doing? What are his stunts? He's in this like cone circular cylinder going around and around and around.
Even his constant looping flashbacks of the falling in the well.
Well, and what was his son doing when he fell down the well? He was spinning like a pulley, like the wheel of a pulley.
Yeah.
Circularity in general is like the crucial motif in Makhmalbaf's film.
Yeah.
The stunt motorcyclist, the spherical pit, the wheel of the truck. The wheels on a bike go round and round.
Yeah.
And the circular motion, and it's a small wheel. Like, I mean, of course, the realistic version would have been like he's probably on a racetrack, like a track and field track.
Yeah.
But it's like a small wheel.
Yeah.
And I feel like when we talk about the ending where he keeps cycling, even when it's done, you just kind of mentioned it so eloquently now, but I'm agreeing with you, is the vicious cycle of exploitation, the unending torment, the physical turmoil, the psychological turmoil of the Afghan refugee experience in Iran. This guy is forced to like sweat and like work his ass off, sleepless nights to make money. Promoters are benefiting from him. The Huskers, if you will, or bettors are like betting on him. Everyone's exploiting this guy.
Yeah.
He's barely says more than 10 words in this film. He's devoid of voice.
Yeah. Also,
like he's not given a voice in this film. Everyone else projects on him what they want to use him for.
Yeah.
So I think this is a deep film. I think that ending really got me in an emotional spot, and I was like, that's beautiful. Like, it was poetry in the end. Like, all of these motifs, these images. I wish the film didn't feel like it was held together with duct tape or scotch tape, but I think it's a powerfully beautiful film. I liked it way more than Hello Cinema, which I know you liked quite a bit.
Interesting. Okay.
Because I feel like this film is like truly deeply poetic and also very political. It's a very political movie.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's my deeper analysis.
Great.
That scene?
It's the scene where they replace him.
It's so good.
It's like very heartwarming. It's very touching. It like you get like a little moment of community.
Yeah, but it's like they're like kind of stepping in for him.
Yeah.
He needs the money.
And then you find out with the blind guy, oh, there's other people in this community who are also pulling scams. That people are aware of, and they're all like kind of like covering for each other. And they're like, hey, I know you saw that to the blind guy. And he's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I know you're pretending to be blind. Just make sure you don't say anything. And he's kind of like, don't say anything about this, or we won't say anything about you being blind.
These are the moments that it felt like there's moments of like nationalistic pride for one another. Like everyone's kind of like kicking in to like help one another and like. But also like, and again, like I don't know if you restated it, but the scene that we're talking about is when the referee ends up sleeping in a brief moment of exhaustion our cyclist Nassim faints and like he passes out and falls off the bike.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of people were watching nearby. It's in the middle of the night. It's like 4 a.m. or something. Nobody's really around. They swap him out. They get him some rest downstairs in like the basement.
Yeah.
And they cover up their face because he was wearing like what is it? A scarf that kind of reaches up to like a hood / sort of like He's almost like wearing like a hijab almost, right? Like a rusari.
It's just a shawl.
Yeah, but he's wearing it like just for like dust and wind and protection. He's covering up most of his face.
Yeah.
He takes his place. And I like that scene. And I just wanted to say that scene and the later scene when like they throw nails in the flat tire of the bike.
Yeah.
I'm like at the edge of my seat. Like it's as exciting as a moment out of Speed or something. I'm like, oh my God, don't fall. No. Like I was like, how's he gonna get out of the scene?
I wouldn't say it's quite exciting. Like Speed, but yeah, it was definitely the most exciting moment of the film.
Speed 2, Cruise Control. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
The way that the camera moves around him, I think is really nice. I don't think the lighting is anything particularly impressive, but I think that the shot compositions and the camera movements are technically well done and they're very beautiful. And I think the complexity around the blocking between the camera and the movement of the actors was very impressive. Mm-hmm. If there's one bit of praise that Makhmalbaf is absolutely deserved for this film is in the way that he is able to block his actors and the movement and his shot choices. It just sucks that it's like the script has a bunch of plot holes and the editing of the movie, I think, actually does a disservice to everything that he does well.
Damn. That's poetry. Yeah, I have one. Mine's a little bit longer, though.
What's yours?
I like the gypsy woman, the palm reading.
Yeah.
The guy's like, this kind of guy's been courting her. One of the people that's watching this guy Nassim do his thing.
Yeah.
He's like courting this palm reader to like marry her and like I'll take care of you and stuff.
Yeah.
And at one point they're sitting in a car. He's like, I've been thinking, how is it that your palm reading is so accurate? How do you do that? Like, how do you do what you do? And she says, and this is my favorite quote, she's like, it's easy. If the woman isn't married, she's looking for a man to make her happy. If she's married but has no child, she's barren. If she's holding a girl, it means she desires a boy. Until someone hits rock bottom, they won't be able to do palm readings. He's like, what if it's a man? He's like, well, if it's a man, he's probably like the man I married. They're all the same.
اگه زن شوهر نکرده بود دنبال یه شوهر میگرده خوشبخت میشه. اگه شوهر کرده بود و یه بچه همراش نبود بچه دار نمیشه. اگه دختر تو بغلش بود معنیش اینه که پسر میخواد. آدم تا بدبخت نباشه کفبینی نمیکنه.
اگه مرد بود چی؟
اگه مرد بود لابد شبیه یکی از اون مرداییه که من زنشون شدم. مردا رو خوب میشناسم. همشون مثل همه.
And like she just brushes it off. But like I really like that quote.
That's really good. Mine comes up like 300 times in the movie.
Nassim moves like the wind?
Yes, it's Nassim Tufane, which is
he's like
it's the breeze is a hurricane.
Yeah.
Because his name I didn't realize that his real name was what was it? Ata?
Ate, yeah. Yeah, because his son calls him that.
But I thought that was just like dad or something.
I don't know. Maybe you're right.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Google searches.
I mean, as far as I could tell, his name was Nassim. Everyone calls him Nassim, which means breeze is the literal translation. Yeah. So then everyone keeps saying Nassim tufan mikone, Nassim tufan mikone, Nassim tufan mikone, which is
the breeze
is a hurricane. Yeah, which I thought was really touching. I also found out, looking it up, because as I was writing down my own translation, I was like, should I put the breeze as a typhoon? And then I looked up the word typhoon, and there's two possible origins of the word. One of them is Chinese, and the other one is based on the Persian word for hurricane. Tufan.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool. Favorite performance?
Who's yours?
Muharram Zainalzadeh.
Yeah, also seen in Salam Cinema.
Oh, is he? Is he the guy that acts for him? No.
Yeah, he's the guy who cries for him.
Oh, and that's the lead of the Cyclist.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so much better in Salam Cinema than he's in this.
Well, he has like 2 lines in this.
What I like about him as the lead, especially because so much has to be carried by his face, he's got a stoic expression.
Yeah.
So much like conveying of lament and yearning. The shawl draped over his head gives like the appearance of like a medieval monk. I just like this look. He becomes like a very martyr-like singer. He becomes like very Christ-like.
Yeah.
And like I liked his look. And again, there's not much of a performance, but he's still holding a lot of that stoic sort of silence and pressure and stuff. So yeah.
Mine is Mohammad Reza Maleki,
Which one was he?
who plays the son.
I
who plays
figured.
Jome.
Yeah. Okay. What'd you like about him?
I just thought he kind of had the most to do in the film. He kind of showed the most range. I feel like every character kind of like didn't have much
Yeah.
to showcase in terms of acting chops.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a lot of just like, this happens and this happens and this happens and this happens. And it's very visual. You know what I mean? But for what he was given, I think Mohammad Reza Maleki was pretty good.
Yep. I agree. Festival of Cannes. I just say, I feel like we're missing scenes in this film.
Yeah.
There's a rare film where I feel it's too short. There's some connecting tissue. I kept thinking, like, did we lose reels here? Like, what's happening? Like, why are we just jumping from, like, moment to moment, especially in the first act? Why did I not get an introduction to who these characters are?
Can you read the text that I sent you?
You said, I think I fucked up and watched the wrong version of The Cyclist. Yeah.
Literally because of how, like, poorly edited it was. And how there's, like, tons of little plot holes that I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
That is, again, also my Festival of Cons, which is unfortunate.
But like, can we get like a slower burn into these characters? Like, why am I just thrown into like a scene where like all the stakes are at a 10 and I don't know who any of these people are?
Either give it to me slower or like faster. Like
that was what your text said to me.
Yeah. The way that it's set up right now, it's almost like to reference a different Batman movie, Batman v Superman. The theatrical version of that movie is a mess, and there's fan edits online that are like half an hour to an hour shorter that are much better because it like cuts out all these weird plot holes. And then there's an ultimate cut, which is about an hour longer, which is also better because it fleshes out what feels like plot holes.
Of all the movies that have had director's cuts, you went with Batman versus Superman?
Listen, as is tradition,
like way more
I'm bringing up
examples.
a Batman movie. Okay.
Pick up any Ridley Scott film. Blade Runner.
There's so many versions of Blade Runner. I don't think plot holes are what's wrong with the theatrical version of Blade Runner.
Double feature lineup. Oh, I wanted to mention something actually. This is reference to the double feature lineup, but I wanted to mention something in deeper analysis that I was like, this reminds me of this film. And I want to say why to you now, but I'll say like why in like the double feature lineup, but I want to say this part because it's deeper analysis. And I was like, there's no way Farron's seen this film. I'm really betting on this film.
Go on.
That you haven't seen. That's why I want to tell you the deeper analysis of it.
Yeah.
Sidney Pollack's 1968 Depression era film, They Shoot Horses, Don't They? Have you seen it?
No.
So it's like a bleak and brutal film. And as I was watching this film, I was like, oh, this kind of reminds me of They Shoot Horses, Don't They? And then everyone on Letterboxd was commenting the same thing.
Interesting.
It's essentially about during the Depression, it's about like a dance competition that goes on to see who can dance the longest, and whoever will dance the longest will win a certain amount of prize money.
Okay.
So these people have to like go to a dance competition and keep dancing and dancing and dancing past exhaustion. Like it's just whoever can dance the longest will win money, and everyone's broke. So it's like it's about the expression and power of human dignity and how like these contests are placed to like remove our dignity and force us to dance like monkeys. But do you get what I mean? Like the parallel?
Yeah, I get it.
Like this
Makes
is like
sense.
I'm like, oh, this is just like that movie where like for a contest people have to dance for as long as they can. And then as I went to Letterboxd, I was like, oh, everyone's saying it. Like this is like such a common thing.
Right.
So that's why I'm going to bring it up now because it's like a deeper analysis is very reference. But off the back of that, I'll go with double feature lineup. I thought of They Shoot Horses, Don't They? Sidney Pollack's 1969 Depression horror film.
Solid.
But I have two more I'm obviously going to say, but you can say yours now too. And I'll say mine.
Majidi's Children of Heaven.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. We will do an episode on it because it's very fun.
Yeah. Instead of thinking about cycling, it's about running, but it's also about like impoverished people or people in marginalized living. The ending gives off similar vibes.
Okay.
I won't spoil it. When we get to the episode, I'll probably double feature them together again, and I'll give more reasons why at that point. But if you've seen both, I think you can kind of figure out why.
Or if you're listening to this in the far future and we've already done the episode, jump to that episode now to hear the reason why.
Special shout out to Forrest Gump because he doesn't stop running.
I want to bring up the great Italian neo-realist classic, Vittorio De Sica's masterpiece, 1948, The Bicycle Thieves, for a recurring motif of the bike's role in someone's impoverished situation. Mm-hmm. And as well for Close Up, for obvious reasons that I will get to in that episode. And if you are listening to this in the future and want to know why, go listen to our Close Up episode right now. So those are my films. Hollywood remake. I just want him to remake this film with a better budget, and I want him to fix all the editing things that drive me crazy.
You supervise the script, and I'll supervise the edit.
The script's, I think, for the most part, fine and beautiful. Have you seen Michael Haneke's Funny Games?
No.
There's two versions of it. He made the film. It was so... it's Austrian. Mm-hmm. It was so successful that Michael Haneke got paid and to produce the film again in English. So he didn't do quite a shot-for-shot remake, almost a shot-for-shot remake.
Wait, what movie was this?
Funny Games. All new cast, all American cast. Mm-hmm. Michael Pitt's in it, Naomi Watts is in it. Mm-hmm. Shot-for-shot remake. Script is, I think, line-for-line remade. But same director, Michael Haneke, remade his film in a different language. And it's like they're so similar that there isn't like watch the original first, watch it in its original language. It's just like watch whichever version you want. They're the same movie. But my point is that do what you do with Funny Games. Give Makhmalbaf the permission to make his film again with a higher budget. And it doesn't have to be a shot-for-shot remake. In fact, please don't make a shot-for-shot remake.
At least not an exact edit remake.
Yeah. Yeah. He's only 68 years old.
Yeah.
Dude, Clint Eastwood is 30 years older than Makhmalbaf, and he's still making movies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I think from what I've heard, it's pretty hard for a lot of filmmakers from Iran who are used to making films in Iran when they leave to continue to make movies, because there's just so much more like red tape almost that there's like a little bit of like a technical culture shock in terms of movie making in other countries.
Yeah. Final thoughts and grade. So my biggest issue with it is the editing. I feel it's super unpolished. I find it bafflingly unpolished. Like I said off the top, I don't understand why the choices were made.
Yeah.
But I love the poetic nature of the film. I love the political message. I love the stuff he's doing with the recurring motif of the cycles and the wheels and the circles and the bike, and all of it's so great.
Yep.
It feels to me like a fable captured on film, so I can't deny all the things I love about that film. It lacks a lot of the stuff that I feel makes it feel polished, though, so it's not an A, it's not a C. I'm just going to give it right in the middle of B.
Okay. Solid
B.
Fair. I'm going to give the movie a C. There was a lot that I liked about it. Like, I think that it was shot very well. The general premise was good, but there were enough like little plot holes and nitpicky things that made it hard for me to get into it. I think if it was set up with the framework of like, oh, it's a fable, I could have bought it the way that you did. Mm-hmm. Honestly, the things that are keeping this from being a D for me are the poetic nature of some of the deeper analysis that we talked about, the message it is attempting to tell, and the way that he's directing the actors and the movement and the camera. But for those plot holes, for the rough editing, I can't give it anything above a C, especially looking back at the other movies that I've given C's and C pluses to. That's like kind of where it has to live for me, which means the Cinema Rex show average score for The Cyclist is B-.
That's fair. Mohsen Makhmalbaf is considered one of the great filmmakers of modern Iran, and his 1989 film The Cyclist clearly draws parallels to De Sica's Bicycle Thieves or Sidney Pollack's 1969 Depression-era film They Shoot Horses, Don't They? But while Pollack's film is bleak and brutal, The Cyclist shows us what happens if they don't shoot the horse, but just let it keep going and going. It suggests that perhaps there is no end to our appetite for exploitation, and that we are broken down so much by it that we cannot even see the end, even well after we ride past. It's a frank expression of the power of human dignity and the power of removing it. The film couches it specifically in the context of an Afghan immigrant in Iran, but it could be anyone, anywhere. Sometimes the rawest of art forms can strike deeply into the percipient, not so much for the brilliance of its polish and skill, but just for the strength of its plunge and the sharpness of its edge. This film is one of those films. It is not great cinema, technically, not purely, but it is a worthwhile piece of art that distills the pros and cons of humanity in a universal way, as well as specifically detailing the hues of those pros and cons to a specific place and time. Farhan June. Thank you very much, FJ, for all that you do.
That's what they call me.
You know how I feel about you.
Unfortunately. Thank you, Kaveh.
To all our listeners, thank you for tuning in and joining us on this glorious ride and around and around and around and around a small little corner in the bazaar.
Comment, subscribe.
Yeah, make sure you like, comment, surprise.
And surprise.
Send us all your surprise.
I'll take some surprises.
And for everyone else, به امید دیدار.
Bye. Music for Cinema Rex was written and performed by Sohail Sadinejad.